So how sustainable is your campaign plan in terms of like eco-friendly, and like is it something that I mean a lot of people would be proud of?
Well, this year as Destinations head manager, I worked very closely with the Sustainability Office and the Living Energy Lab to come up with a way that we could make Destinations more sustainable, because our main source of revenue is our tricolor bus sales. And big diesel bus, sure, that's better than a car, but it still pollutes, still hurts the environment. So we came up with this program called Greenovations, where we went into the student ghetto, assessed energy consumption of 15 homes, then made some retrofits to make them more sustainable, to reduce its environmental footprint. And the program worked great. In fact, one of our big things is we want to expand that program next year. There is money waiting for us to go and ask for. For instance, Hydro One, Ontario Power, they have up to $50,000 in grants per organization that is available if you apply. And all you have to do is show that you are first educating people about sustainable initiatives, and that you are making a tangible difference in your community. In our case, the Queen's student ghetto.
Sounds good.
Sorry, also, we talked to Miriam quite a bit, and one thing we found out is that as sustainability coordinator, one of the biggest problems she was facing is the fact that you do rely entirely on volunteers. So in our platform, we talked about the idea of initiating and implementing sustainability twists into the education system. So this would be projects that professors are already doing, but instead of, say, doing a marketing program or a marketing project for Pepsi or something like that, you would change it. It would be a marketing project for composting in the JDUC, or the first year design program for engineers. Instead of designing something for the Kingston community or something general, instead we would focus it on, say, the new Queen Centre. It would be wind turbines, see if we could take the Queen Centre off the grid. So this way students would want to succeed because it would be for a grade. Students who weren't able to be involved in the student government could still be involved in their university, and they could say, you know what, like, I did that, this is how I contributed to my university.
So what makes you guys real, like, relatable, approachable Queen students? Like, aside from the elections, what makes you guys embody the Queen spirit as like a personality thing?
Well, I'd say, you know what, I've been here for 4 years now. Every single one of my years, I've been involved in some kind of service or group or anything on campus. I've been part of QMP for 4 years, and that's one of the kind of greatest events I think that Queen's organizes. So that's where my heart is. On top of that, I've been involved in the services every year here on campus, one or more services. So I really wanted to give back and get involved in my student community. And most recently this year, or the past couple of years, I've worked at TAPS. So I'm working at the bars here on campus. I love to see students out on campus partying with other students, and that's what I'm about. You can't get much more approachable than hanging out in a bar and having a few drinks with somebody, right?
Yeah, I think all three of us are very social, like going out, like hanging out, so that does help. In addition, I know personally I've done a lot of extracurriculars. My involvement with the AMS really was restricted to the last 2 years. So I've been, say, like Vogue Charity Fashion Show, Exposure. I've been in Queen's Players for a couple of years, which is an amazing experience and a really good way to meet people. So I think it's through these events and through things like intramurals that you meet a lot of people, and I think that's what makes you more approachable, and that's what makes students trust that you do know what's worthwhile for students if you have taken part in all those events. Because if you don't go out there and you don't put yourself out there and try these activities, then you're not maximizing your Queen's experience.
Yeah, and I interact with students on a daily basis as manager of Destinations. I really want to make a difference and make their experience with the AMS really enjoyable. For instance, for Thanksgiving bus sales for the Tricolor, I actually was in Scarborough, between Scarborough and Union Station, at the bus stops, helping people get on, making sure that, if they're lost, point them in the right direction, get answers for them. Students expect a decent level of service and a decent level of return from the AMS. And I understand that because when I go to other stores, when I go to taps, I expect that we'll be served in a timely manner. They'll be making a difference and doing their best to get my meal ready or whatnot. And I just really want to help students out, and I understand their needs because we are all students as well.
What sets you guys apart from all the other teams? What do you have that would make somebody want to vote for you?
Well, I think I touched on this in kind of my last answer, but like basically just the experience. Like I said, the AMS is a really diverse and unique body, and like I said, there is a lot of bureaucracy, there is a lot of red tape. So I think the experience that the three of us bring, especially being involved in the management side and the corporate side of the AMS this year, like I said, we know exactly what needs to get done because we know how the system operates and we know how exactly we're going to implement the things that we're saying that we want to do. So it's just a matter of getting elected and getting right down to business. There's not going to be a huge transition period where we have to learn about the AMS or learn what it does or learn how it operates. We know what it is, we know how it operates, and we know how to maximize what we're doing, and we know how to maximize the value for students of the AMS. So it's just about getting elected and getting right down to brass tacks.
Yeah, I think we do have a lot of options that are financially viable, but also for the benefit of students. A lot of the other ideas that have been thrown out. In theory, it would be nice, if you could have Oxfam or the Earth Center in the tricolor, but the overhead cost just for being in that space is $70,000, which is far more than they would ever be able to afford. So, by making sure that there are financially viable options, it's not that you want to focus entirely on money, but you want to make sure that all of these options are going to be plausible. And so by finding ways to tighten up the government and by supporting services, we can put money back into the AMS. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is people look at it and say, oh, well, why is the AMS trying to make any money at all? Like, they should be giving us the lowest rates. I know that one team was talking a lot about going to Staples instead of PNCC because it seems cheaper. But the reality of the situation is that if you put money back into the services, all of that money goes into the AMS pot. It's all one big financial pool of money. And the commissioners and everyone works for that same amount of money. So by using the services, you are supporting every activity on campus that works through the AMS.
Well, basically, I just really encourage everyone to get informed about the campaign. Check us out online. Our website is voteach.com. And definitely read up more on our campaign ideas. Obviously, we've only been able to touch on them here today. But yeah, check out all the issues. And if you ever have any questions, just come up and see us around campus. Let us know or fire us an email. We'd be more than happy to discuss these issues and really get some student feedback. So get informed and just go out and vote on the 29th and 30th.
Yeah, absolutely. I would just encourage everyone to make sure you're reading the platforms because this is your student government. This is what the rest of your Queen's experience is going to be. So it's so important to make sure that we're looking towards the future. So yeah, come out on the 29th and 30th to vote. It is your education.
Come out, vote, be informed, and meet the candidates.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks so much, guys. And good luck.